She holds my hand so carefully as merchants call our way. The morning sun is warm and bright on cobblestones so gray. Maybury blossoms in the air, sweet memories we share.
The third title given to the first son of the king of Estolia is as light-hearted as the three given to the second son are serious. When the king of Anoxes declared himself sovereign of the islands, he demoted the local leaders to the rank of duke. For the leadership of Estolia, the symmetry of having three titles for both the heir apparent and the future keeper led to the somewhat humorous adoption of the title, resulting in formal introductions enumerating all three: Duke, Sovereign, and King of Estolia. Ulysses Anatoli. Capítulo 37.
Delphina's shy gaze met Annabel's as she approached. Silently, Delphina touched a thick, angry scar across her throat, lips parting without a sound. It was a gesture that spoke volumes. In understanding, Annabel followed her to a sumptuous bedchamber, the silence between them filled with unspoken stories. Inside the bedchamber, Delphina attended to Annabel with gentle care, washing, brushing, and lovingly styling her hair. Though much of the sand and salt was rinsed away, the full luxury of a bath eluded her, leaving Annabel only partially cleansed. By mid-afternoon, Annabel felt truly pampered. Delphina presented her with a cream-colored dress, its fabric soft and gentle on the skin, and adorned with a delicate purple flower embroidered on one sleeve, a touch of elegance that caught the eye. Seated gracefully in one of the ornate chairs, Annabel was lost in thought when a gentle tap on the door announced Ulysses. With the steady rhythm of his cane, he limped into the room, each step speaking of past struggles. As Annabel rose, a swirl of questions danced eagerly through her mind.
You have had your needs met?
He asked her.
They have.
She replied.
And now?
Ulysses' attention focused intently on her.
I am to escort you to the temple,
he informed her, reaching out a hand.
There you will meet the prince.
Why aren't you concerned about my mother?
I don't subscribe to the kind of possession you've mentioned. It strikes me as more of an illness. Rest assured, I see no danger in you marrying the prince.
Something is disturbing you,
Annabel observed.
You are a stranger to Estolia,
he remarked with a sigh.
Acceptance of this future must come before the prince consummates the union. It is essential you embrace it without delay.
I have already accepted.
And so you have,
he agreed.
Come.
Annabel followed Ulysses back to the grand entrance of the palace. With a practiced ease, he settled into his mobile chair. As they descended, Annabel's gaze fell on Estrella, poised at the foot of the steps, adorned with an intricate saddle. Despite the exhausting swim from the previous night, Estrella seemed unfazed. Upon hearing her name, Estrella whickered joyfully, the sound a clear indication of her happiness at being reunited with her mistress. Once one of the young men helped her mount, Annabel patiently awaited Ulysses' own preparations. As she waited, her mind drifted back to her initial arrival, emblazoned with the image of Alexandros' powerful stallion with her filly. The parallel struck her, expectations of union with a stranger, surrendering to an unfamiliar authority, much like Estrella was compelled to submit to the stallion. Her thoughts drifted to Alexandros, the embodiment of her ideal partner. But her father's promise to Duke Ortega left her desolate at the prospect of marrying a man she barely knew, let alone desired. The priestess Cathaya listened to Annabel's worries, yet offered little solace. Duke Ortega's reputation lacked any warmth. His first wife lost her life in childbirth, and the second passed mere months after their daughter's birth. All Duke Ortega sought was a male heir. The idea of his primal demands, overpowering and unfeeling, filled her with dread. Yet she saw no path away from this fate. The men she encountered in Estolia so far were a visual relief compared to Duke Ortega, especially Alexandros. Her heartbeat quickened at the thought of him. His sincerity and genuine care stood out, along with an honesty that was rare in her world. She had noticed his unease when Ulysses announced her future marriage to the king's son. Did Alexandros see her and wish to claim her for himself? As they neared the imposing cathedral, Annabel expected it to be their destination. The sight of its towering spires and intricate stonework filled her with a sense of awe. But Ulysses continued past it, guiding her instead toward a pair of grand double doors carved into the very heart of the mountain. The whispers about this land replayed in Annabel's mind, weaving a web of uncertainty and fear. Many were contradictory, yet one haunting tale stood out, concerning the prince himself. Rumors claimed he had slit his young wife's throat. Some insisted it was a random act of brutality. Others spoke of revenge, while yet another account suggested it was a common practice among the people of Pequeño. The most chilling rumor murmured repeatedly in her thoughts.
They need women because when they marry, so many don't meet their standards. Failing that, they cut their throats.
The memory of it sent a shiver down her spine as she pondered the truth behind these stories.
Come, I will guide you to the seclusion chamber. The prince will soon join you.
With careful effort, Ulysses ascended the 10 steps leading to the majestic doors. As they neared, the doors opened with a silent grace, revealing the wonders within. Annabel gasped softly, enraptured by the temple's serene beauty. It was as if the very walls whispered serenity to her soul, enveloping her in a tranquil embrace. They proceeded through a wide hallway and entered a grand chamber, clearly intended for ceremonies or special gatherings. It took Annabel back to the amphitheater on Palmyra's east coast, a relic from Rome's occupation. The tiers of seats formed an impressive circle around them, with a modest dais raised on one side. Ulysses guided her past the dais, through a pair of smaller double doors. The hallway on the other side was spectacular, stretching much longer and more ornate than the previous one. Finally, Ulysses paused before yet another pair of imposing double doors. Annabel paused, taken aback by the chamber's striking beauty. A wall of shutters lay open, revealing a narrow garden where 3 trees stood, cloaked in a breathtaking abundance of deep purple blossoms. Her imagination whimsically transformed the trees into 3 maidens, adorned for her wedding. Her bridesmaids, she mused. Annabel caught her breath, astonished by the beauty of the trees, which stirred another kind of beauty within her, a memory. It was a spring day, much like this one, when she was an awkward child with lanky limbs and a flat chest. She walked by her mother's side through the bustling merchant district, where rumors of a newly docked ship carrying exotic treasures filled the air. Her mother sang lightly, weaving through the throngs of people.
Your father has received a commission from the Duke.
She had said, her voice a melody over the commotion.
He suggested I come here to find a gift.
Annabel watched her mother laugh, and in that moment she wholeheartedly agreed with her father. Her mother was indeed the most beautiful woman in the world.
Perfumes, coal, powders for perfection.
A short man with a barrel chest emerged before them, exuding a scent of garlic and spices. He brandished a small beaded glass bottle and with a squeeze released a fragrant mist into the air. Annabel was captivated by the exquisite aroma, spinning joyfully in circles while her mother discussed business with the merchant. Though Annabel lost track of how her mother's shopping concluded, she vividly recalled the merchant kneeling before her, his eyes sparkling as he complimented her radiant smile, turning that moment into a cherished memory of warmth and delight.
A beautiful young lady. You may very well be a duchess someday,
he said, a broad grin lighting up his face.
Now open your mouth, little lady, and close your eyes.
His voice danced with playful mischief, hinting at a delightful surprise as he held out a tempting sweet, inviting her to indulge in a moment of simple joy. Annabel glanced at her mother, who smiled encouragingly, prompting her to go along with the surprise. A heartbeat later, her taste buds were overwhelmed by an explosion of flavor as something delightful melted on her tongue. Eyes still closed, she reveled in the sweet's rich taste, the world around her fading as she focused entirely on the magical moment. As Annabel opened her eyes, the merchant's grin widened mischievously.
Now do you have your handkerchief, little lady?
He asked, his tone playful, as if he had a clever trick or a mystery just waiting to unfold. With a hint of shyness, Annabel extended her small kerchief to the merchant. her eyes growing wide with wonder as he delicately spritzed it with the same enchanting perfume. Handing it back to her, he tousled her hair affectionately, leaving her with a treasured keepsake and a heart full of warmth. The gentle aroma of the blossoms whisked her back to that cherished day with the merchant. It was clear that whatever magic his perfume held, this very flower was at its heart, crafting an unforgettable thread woven through her senses.
We share, time stands still in this moment fair, as springtime fills